episode 1 of the Red Pill Awareness Necessary Conversation for Men podcast, the beginning. I think I want us to touch on, before we get into any topics or anything, why this podcast we feel is necessary, why we're doing it, our motivations behind it, the whole nine. Primarily because of the fact that, during the course of our day-to-day, social media and everything, we have conversations with a lot of men and women pertaining to how we deal with women, relationship, money, finance, things like that. And what we are realizing as men is in 2020, the game has changed a lot. And I think a lot of men are not aware how the game changed a lot pertaining to dating, women, and being on your purpose, falling in love, marriage, and all those things. So for me, I think these conversations are needed because a lot of us men are still on the blue pill ideology. And I'll give a brief, quick synopsis of what that is. Basically, just what your parents taught you or your grandparents taught you when it comes to, getting married, finding the right woman, doing the things that you need to do to make sure that you raise your family and all that stuff. And what you see now is in 2020, those values are not the same anymore. So that's my motivation for this. I can't speak for my brother here, Jay, but speak on it, brother.
My main purpose of being a part of this podcast is mainly to dispel the generalizations about men in general, about especially black men. I'm really sick of hearing we ain't shit. I'm really sick of the double standards that we keep hearing from women, especially our own women. I'm just tired of hearing that I'm nothing because I don't adhere to a certain criteria. 6-pack, 6 figures, 6 feet, just all the sixes. It's tiresome. But if I say anything in regards to what I have as far as a preference, I'm part of patriarchy or misogynistic or shallow. But in the same sentence, it's like if I don't have a beard or this or that, then I'm dubbed unattractive.
The double standard.
I don't really care as much as I used to when I was younger, but I just don't like the overwhelming amount of double standards that are constantly spewing out of people's mouths. And then when you call them on it, they get outraged. And now I'm sexist, now I'm shallow. Like, well, you just said that towards us. And if I say that's wrong, I'm the problem. So my purpose is just to have a voice for us that refuse to feel like we're all the same. Because if I went out here and said all women are the same, I would be decapitated in social media. So why should I let that stand for men? It's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, the double standard is real. The way things have changed are real. And I want to address the title of this podcast, Red Pill Awareness. The reason why that's very necessary in 2020 is, like I said earlier, the game has changed as far as what women look for, how men should operate, and I think a lot of us as men, we need to be more aware of it because we're still operating under the mindset of one of the most famous saying is, the woman is the prize. We have to chase the woman. We have to get to a certain standard for them. But in the same token, what you're starting to see is a lot of these same women feel as though they don't have to do anything and still earn or still should be entitled to that high value man. And the reason why I say high value is because that's very important, because what you'll hear is the distinction between, well, dudes, they're bums and they're not working and this and that, versus guys that are educated, guys that are on their purpose, guys that either have it together or in the process of having it together, things like that. And
you have to have it together. They don't care about the process yet.
Valid.
And I'm not speaking for every woman in no way, shape, or form. But I'm speaking to what the popular vote is. I'm speaking to what the popular consensus is. So don't get your tail feathers all ruffled up saying I'm generalizing. Because I can't come on here dispelling generalizations and start spewing them. I am tired of hearing this rhetoric from anyone, and most of it's based on pain. Most of it's based on the experience that you've had with that guy or those guys that hurt you, and now I have to pay, or other men have to pay for the sins of the father, and we're just, as men, we're tired of it. If you want us to respect you and give you a clean slate when we meet you, we need to get that same respect. I haven't met you. It's not my fault.
And I want to point out, we are not the all police. We are not saying all women. You're going to hear us say this repeatedly, because once we get to a point where we start having comments and we start interacting and we start talking, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some women that's going to be like, well, you must be mad. And you're talking about, no, we're not. We're not saying all women. But those that you know who you are, and those that don't subscribe to it, you know who you are. But there is a vast majority that have a certain ideology when it comes to that. Women are the prize. We should chase women. We have to earn their admiration when it comes to relationships and things of that nature. When, if you look at it from a very logical standpoint, that's not totally the case. The one thing that I think, and we'll address this in a later podcast, is that what needs to be understood by us men is women are the gatekeeper of sex. Us as men, we're the gatekeeper of relationship and marriage. Because at the end of the day, we have to ask you. We have to propose to you. Most women, because they're taught in the feminist ideology, that's not what they're supposed to do. So, at the end of the day, us as men, we have to ask ourselves, what is that woman bringing to us to ask that question? What do we gain by being in a relationship or in a marriage with that woman? What is she bringing? And we, because most of us men have been subscribed to this blue pill ideology, we don't ask those questions. And back when, when my parents were married and when my grandparents were married, my parents stayed together for 40 plus years, that was a very easy question to ask, because you didn't have social media making everything available. You didn't have a woman's mindset of hypergamy in that, I'm going to look for the best of the best. And then when I'm tired of that best, I'm going to jump to the next best. Those things weren't around. They weren't around. I've never been married. My partner Jay has. We'll touch on that maybe in another podcast. We'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, I've been in long-term relationships. I have a daughter. And, the decisions that I've made, and I want to emphasize decisions that I made. We're not blaming anybody else. We're not saying it's a woman's fault for this and third, unlike some. The reality is, because the decisions I made out of unawareness, out of not really understanding what's going on, you've had to learn some harsh education. So I feel as though this podcast is necessary to have men avoid those unnecessary situations, those unnecessary decisions, because they're unaware. You know what I mean? So I think that's what we need to do as men, is educate ourselves to understand what we need to do to not only to be better men, but to also make better choices and better decisions.
Right.
Not based off of, damn, I want to get with this bad chick, or I want to be married because society tells me I want to be married, and things like that.
And we're not anti-marriage.
No.
I've been married, like he said, I've been married before. I plan to marry again. We are anti one-sided marriage. We are anti one-sided relationship. We're anti one-sided courtship, because the courtship should be a two-way street. If you're calling her, she needs to be calling you. If you're showing genuine interest in her, she needs to be doing the same thing to you. That's it. Because we're definitely going to touch on the concept of being a fan or a co-star.
Absolutely.
A fan does not get to be in the movie. The fan does not get the girl. The fan is not invited to the Oscars unless the star brings them to the Oscars. So are you a part of her fan club, or does she see you as a co-star, her equal? That's going to be a whole nother concept.
Yep.
Because I've been a fan many times. It's not fun. Just saying.
Listen, I think we've all, as men, have been there. We've been that guy that we kind of hope, or as some people in the red pill community call it, a hope strategy, where we hope that we show that we're the nice enough guy, that we're going to be there when they need us to be and do the right thing. We hope that they're going to choose us. We hope that, hey, she's going to see that I'm this great guy, and I'm the one that she's going to choose because I'm not like those other guys. But in reality, the reality is, more often than not, that woman does not choose you because you're not what she wanted. You don't fit in the category. You wasn't there to begin with. And it's something that us as men, we have to start recognizing to not put ourselves in that situation.
And if you're from Philly, it's probably because you're not a big enough asshole.
Yeah. We're going to get into that.
Sorry, it's just 44 years can't be wrong. A lot of female friends that I know, co-workers that I know, have openly admitted that unless you have a high percentage of the asshole gene, you're probably not going to get far. Now, you can scream and yell and say, no, it's not what we want. We all still want the boys to men, shy type dudes and the baby face dudes. No.
Lies.
No.
Lies.
No. I'm not saying all.
Lies.
Once again, not saying all. We're just going by the mass majority, especially in my hometown of Philadelphia, of who y'all go for. And I'm not hating if that's what you want. It's perfectly fine. This is not a me complaining that I can't get with you because of what you was an asshole. More power to you. But I'm just saying that if you're not an asshole for the most part, your acts of chivalry, your acts of manners, your acts of romanticism are probably going to render you combat ineffective nowadays. Because you need that so-called edge, and even though I hate this word swag, that asshole-like tendencies to usually bring the attention to you. What makes you different? I think it's a form of mental illness, but we'll get into that one time, another day. Yeah.
So I think the plan going forward for us, and then we're probably going to hit on another topic before ending this intro, this number one podcast, is what I would like to do, we'll see how it goes, is I kind of want to set it up in our podcast in two formats. One format is going to be certain topics of the day, maybe something that, Jay and I may have heard on social media, or we might have read on social media, some celebrity shit, something like that, primarily because of the fact that a lot of it is relevant to what's going on now. So I think that's probably going to be one of the two podcasts is going to be about that. And then some of it is going to be, the other podcast is going to be general awareness, hitting on certain topics that needs to be addressed. Red pill versus blue pill. Masculinity versus toxic masculinity. Things like that.
The alpha versus the beta argument.
Right.
Pretty much over.
Right.
It's your phone.
Yeah, got it. So, those things need to be addressed also primarily because of the fact that they're not being talked about enough. I think the people that are in the red pill community, we understand about it, and I do consider myself not fully red pill, but somewhat red pill. And the only reason why I say that is because of the fact that I feel like red pill is a certain mindset, and you work towards that mindset because you're focused on yourself, and also because of the fact that there's certain things that as a man is important to uphold and be as a man, which again I'll get into later. But the hope is you'll get two podcasts from us, and one will be either that topic, one will be either of something that's relevant that we might have heard, saw, celebrities, whatever. And again, it's more or less awareness thing. I think men need to be aware of what's going on out here. Men need to be aware of the double standard and the things that's going on that is not conducive of your masculinity, you functioning and being a man, and being able to be on your purpose and take care of yourself. So, with that being said, We're going to wrap up this first podcast, this intro. I guess we're going to call it episode 1/intro. Be ready to hear from us. Just as a warning, we're going to say some things that some people are not going to like.
Happily.
And, you know,
I'd rather enjoy that part of the conversation. Especially when I'm actually right. Yeah,
there's going to be... expect to hear some triggers during the course of our podcast. Expect it. Understand that it's coming. Understand that. And we're not doing it to intentionally piss people off. We're just trying to spit facts and understanding here. So, understand this might not be for everybody, but because our target is primarily men, and even it's going to be some men that's not going to like it either, because it's going to be, some things are going to be said, it's going to be foreign to you. But understand, we feel it's necessary, so we're doing it. That simple. So I hope you guys enjoy it going forward. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And, hey, looking forward to it. What about you, bro?
Me too. It should be interesting to see people's point of view compared to our point of view.
Yeah, people's reaction.
I like conversations.
People's reaction. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this shit. So, all right, we out.